I came home to find a slab of concrete where my corn should have been. A drone launch pad right in the middle of my family's 12 acres poured while I was out on a work trip. 4 generations of Miller corn gone crushed under tire tracks and rebar. At first I was shaking with rage, but beneath that I felt something colder, because whoever thought they could bully me into submission had no idea what my boring government desk job actually involves. They'd just built a drone facility in one of the worst possible places they could have picked, right inside the airspace I help guard for the U.S. military. The signs were there before the concrete. That Tuesday morning, I caught 3 men with shiny surveying equipment strutting through my crops like they owned the place. Bright orange stake in the dirt. Big letters, HOA Development Zone. I ripped it out before they finished their coffee, and that's when the smiling assassin showed up, Miranda. Tailored suit, perfect hair. One of those smiles that never touches the eyes. She brought Robert, our HOA president, a guy with the backbone of a wet paper towel. He mumbled through a speech about community enhancements while she corrected him like a teacher snapping at a kid, then smoothly took over. "Mr. Miller, surely you want what's best for our community," she purred, waving charts that promised 200 jobs and $1 million in tax revenue. 73% community support according to her survey. Funny, I never saw that survey, and neither did Tom or Pete. My neighbors standing right there looking just as blindsided. My wife, Tracy, came home in time to hear Miranda casually asking about our daily schedules when I left for work when Tracy got back from school. Most people might call that neighborly chit-chat. My military instincts screamed reconnaissance. That evening I opened my mailbox to find it pried open, mail scattered, and a county development form already filled out with details about my land. Soil data drainage notes, measurements nobody should have had unless they'd been walking my property without permission. And listed at the bottom for questions Miranda's contact information. That was the moment the anger turned into something sharper. This wasn't about jobs. This was about taking my land. A few days later, duty pulled me to the Pentagon, and I hated leaving Tracy alone. Sure enough, harassment began the next morning. Crews blocking her driveway, heavy machinery tearing into our garden, drone flights buzzing overhead at night like wasps with cameras. Technically legal, Robert explained later, hiding behind some vague clause he clearly didn't understand. Tracy isn't easy prey. She documented everything: photos, timestamps, GPS coordinates. And what she captured chilled me: surveillance drones, flying patterns no hobbyist should know, nighttime recon with infrared aerial maps marked up with annotations. Meanwhile, Miranda had the town hooked. Our school district was bleeding money, 12 teachers set to be laid off. Her pitch promised tax revenue that would fix it. Parents who once hugged Tracy in the hallways now stared through her, whispering behind her back. Pete, one of my closest friends, was months behind on equipment loans. Miranda dangled lifelines, contracts, cash advances. And desperation has a way of rotting loyalty. I'll be honest, I started to crack. Sitting in some Pentagon briefing, my mind drifted home and I asked myself, am I just standing in the way of progress? The town was drowning. Was I the selfish one clinging to family dirt while everyone else needed jobs? For a moment, I wanted to give in. Sign the papers, walk away. That thought nearly broke me. But then Tracy called, voice low and urgent. She'd found something in Miranda's trash. A schedule of our daily routines, photos of me leaving for work times when Tracy was alone. And at the bottom, a red X over our house with tomorrow's date. That snapped me out of my doubt like a slap across the face. This wasn't economics. This wasn't community progress. This was a threat. They weren't just after our land, they wanted us out of the way. The HOA meeting that night was a circus. Neighbors I'd barbecued with shouted that my pension made me greedy, that I was blocking their kids' futures. Miranda unveiled glossy charts, fraudulent soil tests claiming contamination, even forged petitions with names of people who'd been dead for years. The vote went 47-3 in her favor. My wife, an elderly veteran, and I were the only dissenters. Walking out felt like attending my own funeral. But Miranda had overplayed her hand. She pushed for immediate seizure, no 30-day appeal. and she scheduled her grand showcase for Tuesday morning at 10:30. I knew that time. Every Tuesday for nearly 2 decades, the Phantom Leader Squadron runs low-level combat training through Route Charlie 7, 200 feet off the deck, right over my town. Miranda never bothered to check. That morning, the crowd gathered, cameras rolling, kids eating funnel cake, banners flapping. Miranda strutted to the mic, voice full of false grace. "This drone launch represents hope," she declared before ordering the first flight. The demonstration drone climbed smoothly into the clear blue sky, straight into the corridor of inbound F-16s screaming across the horizon. I sprinted, lungs burning through the crowd. Abort, now. I yelled at the kid on the controls. He sneered. "You have no authority here." Security moved to grab me, and I did something I swore I'd never do in civilian life. I yanked out my military ID, slammed it on the console, and barked into the emergency radio, "Phantom Leader civilian drone at your 12 high break, right immediately." The jets responded in seconds, banking hard. A sonic boom tore through the sky windows, shattering children screaming. The drone missed colliding with them by 47 feet, about the length of a semi. I swear you could feel the silence afterward, a town realizing they had nearly witnessed a fiery death on live television. I turned to the cameras, my voice steady even as adrenaline hammered my veins. "This schedule is public, posted 6 months in advance. Any responsible operator would have checked it. What you just saw could have killed pilots and civilians because someone didn't bother." The crowd shifted. Murmurs of doubt turned into accusations. "Did you know about the jets, Miranda? Did you fake those soil reports?" Miranda tried to spin it, insisting civilians can't access military schedules. "Wrong. Every farmer in a 50-mile radius knows when jets fly low." Her smooth facade cracked. Reporters swarmed. Investors shouted into phones. And then the FBI arrived. Neighbors who had condemned me 3 nights earlier now looked at me differently. Tom, the teacher who'd betrayed me, stood up and said, "Jack saved lives today." "Miranda, what the hell were you thinking?" Pete's face was pale with shame. Even Robert, sweating through his cheap suit, finally croaked out, "Maybe we should have followed procedures." It didn't matter. The damage was done. Miranda's empire collapsed right there in front of everyone. Fraudulent reports, forged petitions, illegal drone flights, layer after layer peeled back until nothing was left but a manipulator exposed her strings visible to the entire room. As federal agents led her away in handcuffs, I felt no triumph. Only the heavy weight of everything we'd lost along the way. Neighbors turned against us, friendships, broken trust burned to ash. But justice had landed swift and undeniable. And that's where the story ends. Not with celebration, not with a feast in my restored cornfield, but with Miranda shoved into the back of a squad car, her perfect smile finally gone. Because sometimes the biggest battles aren't fought with guns or soldiers. Sometimes they're fought in small towns with neighbors you thought were friends against people who smile while they steal from you. And the lesson I'll never forget is this: bullies thrive on silence until you stand your ground and make them choke on it.